Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we're bringing you news from the City Council, news from the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, news from the Ridgecrest Republican Women and Desert Empire Fairgrounds, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, Wednesday evening is the first City Council meeting of 2016. The main item being discussed is the agreement between the City and new Groundwater Sustainability Agency. At the regular Council meeting of December 16th last year, the Council discussed options regarding the formation of the Groundwater Sustainability Agency and agreed that a joint powers authority was the most acceptable method. The County of Kern has provided a draft joint powers authority agreement to be reviewed by participating agencies. This is a 12-page agreement that will set the rules of the city involvement in this agency. Once this agreement is approved by all the agency members, it will have the force of law and only modifiable by the agency. The document covers these things: authority creation, term, powers, membership, directors and officers, board meetings and actions, operations and management, financial provisions, special activities, relationship of authority and its members, and miscellaneous provisions. Now here's the meat of the agreement. The authority shall possess the ability to exercise the common powers of its members related to the purpose of the authority, including and limited to the following. First, to designate itself the GSA for the basin pursuant to SGMA. This means it will have legislative authority over the entire Indian Wells Valley Basin. They'll develop, adopt, and implement a GSP for the basin pursuant to SGMA. They'll adopt rules, regulations, policies, bylaws, and procedures governing the operation of the authority and the adoption and implementation of the GSP. They'll employ, designate, or otherwise contract for the services needed to fulfill the purpose of the authority. They'll collect and monitor all data related and beneficial to the development, adoption, and implementation of the GSP for the basin. They'll incur debts, liabilities, or obligations, and other indebtedness in its own name. They'll levy assessments, charges, and fees as provided by SGMA. They'll regulate and monitor groundwater extractions as permitted by SGMA. They'll establish and administer water banking programs for the benefit of the members. They'll establish and administer water recycling, recapturing, or purifying programs for the benefit of the members. They'll cooperate, act in conjunction with, and contract with the United States, the State of California, or any agency thereof, counties, municipalities, public and private corporations of any kind, including without limitation, investor-owned utilities, and individuals, or any of them, for any and all purposes necessary or convenient for the full exercise of the powers of the authority. They'll accumulate operating and reserve funds and invest the same as allowed by law for the purpose of the authority. They'll apply for and accept grants, contributions, donations, and loans in the authority's names for the purposes of the authority. So that's the main part of the agreement that is coming. This agency will touch every landowner in the valley. It will affect people on water systems, people on their own wells, or any other user of water in the valley. Be clear, some people think having their own private wells that this agency will have no jurisdiction over them. If you are one of those people, you are wrong. Everyone will be affected by this new agency. Until the Groundwater Sustainability Plan has been approved, the effect is unknown. But it includes all the provisions I just read off to you. Please understand, I'm offering no support or opposition to any of this agency at this time. Only that you, the people, have got to understand that this is a whole new level of government being established. A level of government that will have the authority to tax or establish fees concerning water. So if you want to influence the adoption of this agreement, now is when you'd want to do it. Not after it has been approved by all the new agency members. Changing it after approval by the members will be difficult. Again, this will be discussed Wednesday evening at the Ridgecrest City Hall at 6 p.m. Now here's a recap of last Friday's Ridgecrest Republican Women Federated Luncheon. Chip Holloway spoke on the Desert Empire Fair and the importance of having a community fair. Holloway reported a grand total of over $53,000 profit from the 2015 fair. He said his philosophy is, while a profitable fair is important, I feel our number one responsibility is to put on a safe, entertaining family event that creates community pride and honors the legacy of all the great fairs past. As executive director, Holloway has some creative ideas to profit the fairgrounds. Established 30 years ago, the fairgrounds going forward will be called the Desert Empire Fairgrounds and Event Center. Holloway envisions fairground facilities hosting banquets, weddings, receptions, and such events. Holloway said Darrell Edens is the DEF Event Center president. Apart from a hospitality venue, Holloway said there is also a possibility of raising chickens and selling homegrown organic eggs to the community. Additionally, he said they are thinking of changing the fair from a 4-day to a 3-day event. He said Larry Hauser with the Friends of the Fair Foundation is always looking for more volunteers. In 2010, Holloway launched Endeavors Unlimited Consulting, offering political advocacy, marketing, and management services. Currently, his biggest clients are the DEF Fair Center. Holloway has served on the Ridgecrest City Council 16 years, including 2 terms as mayor. In other matters, Ridgecrest Republican Women President Judy Weaver announced their club's upcoming high school essay contest. The writing topics to answer the question, based on our First Amendment rights, should students with civility and mutual respect be allowed to express their opinions or wear clothing that might potentially offend others? Essays are to be from 350 words minimum to 500 words maximum. Winners will be awarded $150 for first place, $100 for second place, and $100 for third place. Awards will be presented at the Ridgecrest Republican Women's Luncheon Friday, April 15th. To inquire regarding the essay contest, please call Judy Weaver at 760-608-0440. Now stay with us for news about the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation dinner when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Coming real quick now is the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation dinner. This is a fun evening of guns and entertainment for the benefit of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. This year's annual dinner is Saturday, January 30th, 5 p.m. at the Kern-McGee Center. That's less than 2 weeks from now. Pre-sale tickets can be purchased, and it is encouraged. If you want to attend this event, purchase your tickets now. Contact Gavin Swanson, 760-589-4537, or email him at rc.rmef.tickets@gmail.com. Now it's time for the 111th KZGN News Talking Points editorial. I'll have today's topic, plus a guest editorial you're sure to enjoy. Here's today's topic. Can differing political positions be argued without people resorting to personal attacks? But first, some comments about my last week's editorial titled, So Obama Blames We the People for Washington Gridlock in his State of the Union speech. Well, this one stirred up a small beehive. Seems not everyone agreed with me. And I say small beehive because the editorial was viewed by 63 people, and only 3 took issue with my opinion. Now I know, just because more of those 63 viewers didn't join me in the fracas, that doesn't mean that they agree with me. But I would assert that national polls show 65% of the people disagree with the direction the president is taking us. That kind of supports the ratio of viewers to this editorial that offered no comment. We posted this editorial in the Facebook forum, and comments started coming in. The sad part of a couple of the comments coming in was the more personal nature of the people that disagreed with me. Seems they didn't have meaningful points to debate, so they just slammed me personally. Susie says she doesn't respect me anymore. Seems her main problem with me is that I criticize Democrats more than I criticize Republicans. Well, that probably is true. I guess the reason for that is because we have a Democratic president that, in my opinion, is taking the country in the wrong direction. I can say this to her, though, even though she won't believe me. I'd say this. If a Republican president was taking the country the same direction, I would be critical of that Republican. It is not about a political party, it's about ideology. She has issues with Republicans, and that's fine. I don't disrespect her for her opinion and ideology. That is freedom of expression. Phil and Wally both called me a liar. The problem, I guess, was that they took issue with my opinion conclusion as to how I interpreted the president's words. They said he didn't literally say he blamed us for the gridlock in Washington. After I sorted out their vitriolic attacks, I guess that was their main point. Literally. That is correct. But his words in the speech, in my opinion, directed the blame for the gridlock on we the people. Here are the president's words, verbatim. But, my fellow Americans, this cannot be my task or any president's alone. There are a whole lot of folks in this chamber who would like to see more cooperation, a more elevated debate in Washington, but feel trapped by the demands of getting elected. I know, you've told me so. Those were the president's exact words. So I took that to mean this. If it's not his fault, only his regret, or it's not Congress's fault because they fear their electorate's reaction if they compromise, then who's left to blame? Us. We the people, is my conclusion. Congress won't compromise because they fear we the people. I thought that was what representative government was all about. Our elected officials representing us, working for us, and being responsible to us, we the people. Silly me. Anyway, here's today's topic. Can differing political positions be argued without people resorting to personal attacks? Like I pointed out in the first part of today's editorial, why is it that people have to resort to personal attacks on people that offer an opinion they don't agree with? Why do people have to say they don't respect someone for expressing their opinions? Why do they come out and call people liars for offering their opinions? My editorials are clearly labeled editorial. That means they are my opinion on whatever the subject may be. We all read and listen to comments by other people. We are constantly assessing what's been said or happened. Then we are forming our own opinion as to what we have read or heard. And then we respond with our assessment. Will everyone agree with my assessment? Of course not. And that's okay. But my assessment was my assessment. It's what I believed was said to me. And I might add that I was not alone in people that took issue with the president's only regret for his presidency. Many shared my opinion that his regret was really a deferral of blame for his failure to be able to bring people together. I expressed my assessment. That should not invoke a loss of respect. That is not a lie. The definition of a lie is to speak falsely or utter untruth knowingly, as with intent to deceive. People completely lose any sense of humor when ideology enters into the discussion. I have never called my detractors liars or say I lost respect for them. Actually, I do respect them for voicing their opinion publicly, for having the guts to say what they think. Even when I don't agree, I think it's a good, solid discussion of an issue is healthy. But many people will not participate for fear of being ridiculed by others. Now, that might be the goal of the personal insulters. Their goal may be to silence any opposition to their own opinion, and that is a way to do it. Call people liars or racists or bigots when no such ideology was intended. If you can't argue with solid points, then many resort to personal attacks. Oh well, enough of the lecture on personal attacks. It's clear both sides of many issues are very intense, but people should be able to disagree with respect. Last time I checked, the First Amendment still applies to we the people. And now, here's a short guest editorial from the Archie Bunker TV shows in the early 1970s. You're going to love this one.
Here we are. All right, everybody clam up.
Mr. Archie Bunker, speaking in reply to the editorial broadcast last Saturday.
Good evening, everybody. This is Archie Bunker of 704 Houser Street, veteran of the big war, speaking on behalf of Guns for Everybody. Now, question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over in Russia? Answer, gun control. And there's a lot of people in this country who want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see. You take your big international bankers. They want to, masticate the people of this here nation like puppets on a wing. And then when you get that done, turn us over to the communists.
Oh, Archie, I'm glad they put you on a stool. You look taller sitting down.
Now, I want to talk about another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackers, which, if that was up to me, I could end the skyjackers tomorrow.
You could?
All you got to do is arm all your passengers. And if he ain't got no more superiority there, he ain't going to dare to pull out no rod. And then your airlines, then they wouldn't have to search the passengers on the ground no more. They just pass out the pistols at the beginning of the trip, and they pick them up again at the end. Case closed.
That's incredible, Archie.
In conclusion, was that a great editorial or not? I'm Tom Winnick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial, or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Now stay with us for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. National Weather Service forecasters are monitoring the possibility of a major winter storm affecting the Northeast later this week, including the possibility of heavy snow for the urban corridor extending from Washington, D.C. to New York and Boston Friday into Sunday. Based on the anticipated storm track, as much as 1 to 2 feet of snow is possible near and northwest of I-95. Coastal flooding is also likely. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 31, Georgia at 33, Arkansas at 36, Northern Texas at 59, Arizona at 63, and Los Angeles at 61. And for us locally, tonight, a 20% chance of rain, partly cloudy with a low around 41, south-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 61, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 40, south-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 61 with a calm wind. Thursday night, partly cloudy with a low around 43, east-southeast wind 5 miles per hour. And Friday, partly sunny with a high near 61, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
Thanks, Lane. And now here's Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Tuesday, early evening to everyone. Let's start with Burroughs basketball. Over the weekend, last Friday night, the Burroughs boys had a dramatic 53-52 victory over Apple Valley at the barn. Doug Hayes' crew had a great second half, great fourth quarter. They shut down Apple Valley to only 2 points, no field goals in that fourth quarter. Cole Hayes, the coach's son, had a total of 23 points to lead all scorers in the game. All right, let's talk about the JV boys. They had a 20-point win over Michael Bachman, doing a great job with that program. 20-point win over Apple Valley. And the girls had success on the road. The varsity team easily beat Apple Valley along with the JV team. On Wednesday night, the girls, JV girls, varsity girls will be home to play against Sultana. All right, great NFL weekend. New England beats Kansas City 27-20. The Chiefs had won 11 games in a row before losing. Tom Brady, 382 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Now, that sets up a great rematch, Tom Brady against Eli Manning. Denver will take on a very, very good New England team right now in the Mile High City. Denver beat Pittsburgh. They had to do it with a good fourth quarter. They beat the Steelers to go to the championship of the AFC. In the NFC, Seattle gave up 31 first half points. They trailed 31-0 at the intermission. That was just too much to give up. They played a good second half. They outplayed Carolina in the second half, but the hole was dug, and they ended up losing 31-28. 24. Cam Newton, just probably right now the best quarterback on the planet. Arizona, dramatic game. They beat Green Bay 26-20 in overtime. Incredible finish. Aaron Rodgers on the last play in the fourth quarter regulation, another Hail Mary touchdown pass to put it into overtime. And then Larry Fitzgerald, the Cardinal veteran wide receiver, a 58-yard catch and run in overtime, put the ball on the 3-yard line. Cardinals score 2 plays later, and they are in the championship game. They'll play Carolina on Sunday in Charlotte. All right, let's talk about the NBA a little bit. The Lakers lose on Sunday to Houston, and the Clippers beat Houston last night in overtime. Also, the Knicks, most improved basketball team, I think, in the league, beat the 76ers in 2 overtimes. Memphis 2 points better than New Orleans. Charlotte over Utah in 2 overtimes. Utah playing better this year. I think Quinn Snyder, their new head coach, has done a good job with that program. Chicago beats Detroit. Atlanta beats Orlando. And somehow, some way, Golden State crushed Cleveland. In Cleveland, by 35 points. They hold LeBron James to only 15 points in that game. Well, that's your sports on this Tuesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of the KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk coming up next.